Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 8-game NBA main slate on Monday. If this is your first time watching, welcome. My name is DK. I make content for daily fantasy sports, prize picks, and for NBA Top Shot / NFL all day. Premium content if you want more in-depth content, player pools, core plays, cash plays, GPP plays, if-then statements, private roster construction videos, and most importantly, the private live stream before lock every single slate. You can check out the information in my Patreon, which is, again, linked in the description below. The sponsor of this video, guys, is Roast Umber. I drink this stuff every single day to stay on top of my games. I'm ready to tilt all night DFS. But, yeah, guys, it's really, really good coffee. Again, my personal favorite is the Nitro. So you can use my discount code DKDFS for 20% off your order. Try it out. You will not be disappointed. All right, so let's get into the video. Let's look back lineup here from tonight. Would have been my second takedown in under a week. And I was taking down until overtime, where Nikola Jokic goes for like 40 in overtime. And Ingram, I think, had negative fantasy points in overtime. So I get overtime and I'm at first. I'm like, uh-oh. Like, I just wanted this game to end. I had first place locked up. 5 people passed me with Jokic. I was winning first place like $700. Now I'm going to double my money. And maybe not even double. Someone's coming close with Luke Kennard in the second half. About 15 points down. Unreal stuff, guys. Unreal. Again, just add it to the list of different ways I can run bad. But yeah, so let's go over my lineup. So I was really high in the Pelicans today. I knew they weren't going to get much ownership, and they smashed. JV was smashing. He fouled out. CJ, I think, got a pretty solid game. And Ingram went for 60 fantasy points, but I swear he had negative fantasy points at overtime. He went absolutely off after starting the game. I check it out. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? 0 of 6 in the first 11 minutes Ingram was. I think he had 1 assist. I'm just like, are you serious right now? Luckily, he turned it around in a big way. Massive chalk. Ja Morant was a bust in a great matchup. No real regrets there. Sometimes it just good players in great spots can bust, right? So it's like, sure, Ja's price wasn't super, super cheap. But also, it was like pretty difficult to prioritize Jokic on the slate at his price, with there being, not a lot of great value. So, and you can see by the way my lineup worked that I went to the Houston guys as a contrarian plays. Someone asked me on the Patreon live stream, like, who's your favorite low-owned plays? I said the 2 Houston guys, Christian Wood and Kevin Porter Jr. They both absolutely smashed. KPJ 41, Wood for 54 at no ownership, so that was huge. And you can see the little pairing there with Ja plus the Houston guys. Boucher was a smash. He was a must. Clarkson started the game like 0 of 8. I was just like, I had Clarkson start the game 0 of 8 and Ingram like 0 of 6. I'm just like, I cannot take this anymore. Thad Young, again, it was a Chua that you really wanted of those other value bigs off the bench. So it was a tough call with those two. Ended up picking wrong, but again, no real regrets with the play. And then I went to a low-owned Devontae Graham over massive chalk Trent Forrest, who I thought was very over-owned in tournaments. Even though I thought he was a decent value, Trent Forrest should not have been 70% or whatever he was in tournaments. So, yeah, guys, that's it for the look back. Again, if it wasn't for the overtime, I would have had my second takedown in under a week, but it looks like just a double up. I'm tilted. I'm going to be tilted probably for the next few hours here. But, hey, it is what it is. Winning lineup, this is in the Thunderdome. Jokic, or they didn't have Jokic, actually. Clarkson, Mitchell's massive chalk. Force, 83%, which is fine. Boucher, 100% owned, as he should have been. JV, again, fouled out. Otherwise, he would have had a big, big game. Bane, Barnes, and Ingram. One player that was very, very popular, Jaren Jackson Jr. Never play chalk Jaren Jackson Jr. Never. Don't do it ever. The reason is, and I brought it up, so I thought, I don't look at ownership at all, I thought he would be relatively low owned. He came in at like almost 50% ownership in tournaments, and I was just like, well, I want none of that then, because this guy's always in foul trouble, and if half the field's going to be there, and he gets in foul trouble, I'm looking great. And sure enough, he got massive foul trouble like he almost always does. So the times you want to play Jaren Jackson Jr. are when he's low owned. When he is chalk, he is a easy fade in GPPs for the reason of this guy is just always in foul trouble. So like, I'll take a shot on him at low ownership in tournaments. But when he's chalk, I want none of that. All right, so let's get into the 8-game slate, guys. We'll start off with Atlanta and Detroit. So Atlanta basically fully healthy. We do have Kevin Huerter questionable. Not a big deal, though, if he misses. We do have John Collins back. At the top, Trae Young, 10-2. Feels priced about right. Good matchup. Does have a ceiling, except for when I play him right. But, yeah, I think he's a decent option here. The bigs, Capella with Collins back, a little bit hard to go there. Keep an eye on the Collins news. If he starts, I think he's definitely more in play. Played 25 minutes on the bench in his first game back. But not much else here I'm looking to on the Atlanta side. On the Detroit side, Cade Cunningham, I think looks decent in a good matchup at 7.5K. Should play low to mid 30s minutes. Good matchup, does have shooting guard small forward eligibility, but again, always in foul trouble. When I play him, when I don't, he stays out of foul trouble. It smashes. The wings and Bay and Grant, I think, are both decent options. Need their priority plays. The bigs, nothing that really stands out. I mean, Marvin Bagley at 4-4. In his first game back, played 22 minutes. Played well. I mean, he'll be productive, but like, I don't love the price point. So there's just not much that really stands out in the Detroit side. Chicago and Philly, kind of the same thing. Not much here. We do have Vooch questionable. Billy Donovan expects him to play. Now, if Vucevic can't go, then we can look to Tristan Thompson, who becomes a really good value 3-2 that would most likely start. So again, monitor that news. But if Tristan Thompson starts, he's going to look really, really good there. If Vucevic plays, though, I mean, of the big three, I think Levine's probably the easiest to get to at 8.3. I will say Ayo DeSumo at 5.2 is a relatively safe play. He's been playing pretty consistent minutes, like mid-30s. He has a relatively high floor, too. So I think he's an okay play there at his price. Moving on to Philadelphia. So great matchup here. We do have Harden back. So Embiid and Harden, I think, are decent options at the top. Now, you're not getting either at a discount, but like I said, it's a great matchup. So I think both Embiid and Harden are in play. Probably with small lean to Harden over Embiid since he's got point guard, shooting guard eligibility. A little bit easier to get him in there. And then the value I'm just going to stay away from for Philadelphia. Houston and Miami. So again, I went to Wood at KPJ at extremely low ownership, and they came through in a huge way for me tonight. Probably not going to go back there tomorrow against Miami, one of the best defenses in the league. So really hard to get to either of them. There's really not much here at all. So Houston's basically full fade for me. On the Miami side, we might have Oladipo playing. We might have Martin playing. So it would be Oladipo's first game this year. So keep an eye on that one. We still have Lowry out. It's a great spot. So I feel like the main guys are in play if you think Houston can keep this game close. So like Bam, Jimmy, and Hero all look pretty solid if you think Houston can keep it close. Because Houston plays no defense. Gabe Vincent will most likely start or he should continue to start with Lowry out. So I think he's like a fair play. You have likes like Robinson and Struss that are viable but have to hit their shots to get value. So that's kind of it for Miami. Moving on to Portland and Minnesota. So once again, Portland's very shorthanded. Now they're resting Simon. So Josh Hart, same thing. So this is what I said last time. It's like if you think this game can stay competitive, you should play Simons and probably run it back with one of those Minnesota guys. I did that on the late slate. So I had a really good night on Saturday on the late slate. I had Simons, ran it back with Cat, play those Portland value plays. I had a chance to take down, guys, in the late slate. Malik Beasley ejected. Like, it's always something. It is always something. Someone shooting 5% from the field, massive foul trouble, random blowouts, injuries, ejections. It's always something. Overtime that cost me $500 because my player gets like negative points and Jokic goes for 80 in overtime. It's always something. But back to Portland. So if they want any chance to keep this game close, you're probably going to see a pretty big game from Hart. So I like him for tournaments. I think Watford, Eubanks will split the tournaments. We do have Greg Brown back too, so that's one more body possibly in the rotation. Also, Elijah Hughes' status up in the air. So like they might be a little bit deeper than they were last game when they were at eight available players. So would be a different situation. I was extremely high in Portland last time because they only had 8 bodies. But if they had like 10 available players, they're not going to look as good. Ellaby, assuming he continues to start, I think is a relatively safe play at 4.5K. A guy that can kind of do everything for the team. Not a great player, but like he's probably going to play pretty significant minutes. Keon Johnson had a big game in the starting lineup. Played 29 minutes. Again, playable to sub 4K price point. Brandon Williams will play the backup point guard. Actually, I mean, with Simons out, maybe he starts. So if he starts, I think he's going to be a pretty good value. I don't know. They can do a lot of different things with this lineup, and it's just like I said, it's like Hart and like a bunch of scrubs right now. So keep an eye on the news with Brown and Hughes, and keep an eye on the starting lineup for Portland. On the Minnesota side, so Anthony Edwards doubtful, Patrick Beverley questionable. The top two guys, same thing I'll say. If you think Portland keep this game close, and then Cat and D'Lo, both these guys can smash. We saw 70 from Cat last game. We saw D'Lo go for 43, so I like them both if you think Portland keep it close, but there's massive blowout risk. McDaniels and Vanderbilt, these are two guys that probably play over 30 minutes. I think they're decent values, assuming that Patrick Beverley's out. And if Patrick Beverley's out and Malik Beasley starts, I like him at 4.3. He was on pace for a massive game last game. And the Faders got bailed out with a random ejection. He was on pace for at least like 35 fancy points. So I think if Patrick Beverley's out and Beasley starts, he's going to be a pretty good value play there. We do have a couple other question marks here with Taurean Prince and with Naz Reid. So monitor that. Maybe some possible potential value off the bench there for Minnesota. Utah and Dallas. So now we have Conley back. There's just not much that really stands out here. I think Gobert and Mitchell are both like fine options, but more secondary spend up. So that's really it for Utah. Probably Gobert being my favorite play at 7.9. On the Dallas side, we have Brunson questionable, Maxi Kleber questionable, Luka Doncic is probable. I think Luka's a good tournament play. I think the matchup will scare some people away, but he's playing like 40 minutes a game and just doing everything for the team. So no issue if you want to spend up for Luka. If Brunson's out, I do think you can get to Dinwiddie even if Luka playing, who would probably start and play like mid-30s minutes. So I think Dinwiddie would definitely be viable there. DFS, Bullock will play big minutes for the low usage. If Kleber's out, I do think you can look to Dwight Powell. Got in some massive foul trouble last game. I think he's going to play, as many minutes as he can handle if there's no Kleber, right? Against a big Utah team, he's really their only other big, unless they want to dust off Boban. So I think Dwight Powell, if there's no Kleber, actually is a pretty good value play. Lakers and Spurs. So how about that game from LeBron last night? LeBron went for 56 real-life points. It's a great matchup. He's playing a lot at the center. I think you can get to LeBron. I don't love the price at 11.6, but I do like the matchup. So LeBron looks pretty solid. Westbrook is still overpriced. I do like Malik Monk, assuming he continues to start. He's been starting and playing like over 30 minutes every single game. So I think he looks pretty good in the mid-range. I think Melo at 5.2 off the bench should play, close to 30 minutes. That looks okay. The rest of the Lakers, nothing else I really feel good about. THT came back, but played like under 20 minutes in his first game back. Let's move on to the Spurs. So Spurs, we have some question marks here. We have Murray and Vassell both questionable. If they are both out, keep an eye on the starting lineup. But I would guess that Trey Jones enters the starting lineup for Murray. If that's the case, he's going to make for a great value. And then, if Vassell's out, you should get more run for, Lonnie Walker and Josh Primo are going to become a lot more in play. So keep an eye on that news. If they're both in, I think DeJounte Murray is a decent spend up at the top. The price is not amazing, but it's a great matchup, and he's going to have to do everything for the team. And then Pirtle at 7.9 feels priced about right, maybe a little bit overpriced. Keldon, pretty sure he had a big game last game, for 47. More of an outlier, but he's been playing pretty well of late. I guess you look at his last two games, 6 and then 47 fancy points. Pretty wide gap there, but yeah, Vassell and Murray news is big. All right, couple games left. So Golden State, Denver. Well, Golden State's resting everyone. So I believe they're going to have 10 available players. Poole 1, Porter 2, Kuminga 3, Looney 4, Bjelica 5, Lee 6, JTA 7, Moody 8, Chioza 9, and I believe Witherspoon will be active, so that should be 10 bodies. We'll get confirmation on that before the game starts. So, yeah, if they want to keep this game competitive, Jordan Poole's had to do everything for the team, so I think he looks amazing here. Most likely starts, most likely plays over 30 minutes. He looks fantastic. I think Otto Porter looks pretty good, too, at 4.6K. He's going to get a pretty big usage bump, so those two look good. I think Kuminga might start. If he does, he's going to look great. Looney at 4.1. They're going to need his defense on Jokic, so I think he's an okay value play. If he can stay out of foul trouble, he's probably playing 25-plus minutes. You can basically make an argument for any of these Warriors. Bjelica off the bench, definitely in play. Lee, all these value plays off the bench are in play. But I think the guys feel the best about probably being Poole, Porter, Kuminga, Looney. Keep an eye on the starting lineup. If Damian Lee starts, I think he's going to become a pretty good value. They could also go to Moses Moody in the starting lineup. So, a lot to like here for Golden State. But somehow Steve Kerr will find a way to screw his DFS players and play everyone 25 minutes, like Mike Malone did when Jokic was out. All right, on the Denver side, so Will Barton left that game. I believe he did not return with an ankle sprain, so keep an eye on that news. But Jokic just went for like almost 100 fancy points. Absolutely insane game. Again, cost me like $500 to that overtime. Unreal. Unreal stuff, guys. This is the way to drink Gatorade. These bottles, it's the best way to drink Gatorade. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, back to Denver. So Jokic, some blowout risk here with everyone resting on Golden State, but obviously has a massive ceiling. If Barton's out, keep an eye on the starting lineup. Probably would get some more minutes for the likes of like Jeff Green, Bones Highland, Bryn Forbes, maybe Rivers. I don't know if there would be like someone that like immediately stands out as like a great play if Barton can't go, but again, we'll monitor that news. And finally, the Knicks and the Kings. So I feel like we're getting a lot of just late night hammer Knicks schemes recently. But yeah, at the top with Randall and Barrett, I think Barrett's the guy that looks the best here at 8K. I mean, he's playing massive minutes right now. He shot 6 of 26 when I finally bought into him. But other than that, he's been amazing. So I think RJ Barrett looks pretty good here in a great matchup. Randall's in play as well. He had an awful start to the game. I think he started at 0 of 7. But those who definitely played a great matchup, probably lean Barrett over Randall. But like I said, both look good. Mid-range guys are solid options. They've been running a pretty condensed rotation, so you should see over 30 minutes from Burks and Fournier. If Robinson stays out of foul trouble, we saw the upside that he has, so he's obviously a solid GPP play. Quickly off the bench has been playing pretty consistent minutes. I think he's definitely in play. He doesn't have point guard, shooting guard eligibility, so that's kind of it for the Knicks. The starters plus Quickly, and I think they all look pretty good in a great matchup, and like I said, they've been running a pretty tight rotation. On the Sacramento side, it's a little bit of a tougher spot, but I think Sabonis is a decent contrarian play. I think people might get scared away here. I mean, he's just... I swear, he was never in this much foul trouble. I swear, every single game for the Kings, Sabonis is in foul trouble. So I feel like box score watchers might avoid Sabonis. I think you'll be able to get him at extremely low ownership, but 28 minutes, fouled out, 32 minutes, 5 foul, like it was a massive foul trouble. Like, if he stays out of foul trouble, he's playing close to 40 minutes. So I think Sabonis looks good as a contrarian play, and I don't think anyone will play him. De'Aaron Fox at 9.3, I mean, he's played well except for when I play him, right? I buy in, 3 assists. Other than that, 50, 56, 56, and 58 fancy points. I play De'Aaron Fox, massive bust. Like I said, no one runs worse than me. And it's a known fact in the DFS community. There's no one that runs worse. Harrison Barnes is 6K. It's kind of just a neutral play for me. Trey Lyles was massive chalk a couple games ago. He's been starting, but hasn't really been playing enough minutes for me to feel good about that. Jeremy Lamb is questionable if he can't go. I think there'll be, kind of solidified minutes for the likes of like DiVincenzo and Davion Mitchell, who I think will both be in play. I mean, we've seen the minutes been ticking up at DiVincenzo, 25, 29, 34. So I think he's in play. Davion Mitchell maybe plays a couple extra minutes. He's been playing low 20s minutes. And then Holmes should play the backup 5. He's only 3.4K. If Sabonis gets in massive foul trouble again, he's probably benefiting. So in a large field tournament, I guess you can consider him. But that's really going to do it for the video today, guys. So if you have been enjoying the tilting content, basically, just make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. But as always, I really appreciate all your support, guys. Hope you have a great night, and I will see everyone in the next video.